So this is what Pages looks like. I'm sure you're aware of you use this 1,000 times. And when you first open the app, this is how it can look, but it could also look different. If you click over on this button right over here, you could have icons and or you could have lists. You could sort by different ways. But this is basically how you use the app. And I want to show you how to create folders in this scenario. You press this button right here. It looks like a folder with a plus on it, and you press it, and then you give it a name. So we're going to call it test, and then you press enter. Okay. So then what you can do is like inside this, you could create another folder, and then we'll call this 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you have here is you have like a file structure inside um, a bunch of, you have a folder structure inside a bunch of different folders. So you see it down here. And so what I could do if I wanted to is I could take this entire folder and move it to a different location. If I see that button up there, I could press move, and then I could choose where I want to move it to. Okay, so I could come over here, I could find Conrad, I could find test, I could find 1, 2, 3, and I could put it inside there by pressing move. Okay. So now when I go into test, I go into 1, 2, 3, there it is. Say I made a mistake and I don't want it there. I can move it again by pressing, holding over it and pressing move. And then I could go back to Conrad and then move it again. So let's say you want to do this in a faster, a little bit more visual way. If you slide over here, you can get what is the basically it's the Files app, but it's the Files app side by side. Okay. So you could use the Files app like this, which is basically what you might be familiar with, or you could use the Files app in a dual screen setup. And what's nice about the dual screen setup is on the left, I'm going to go into the test thing that we had, but over here on the right is something like, as an example, I can just drag this over there. So it goes away from there on the right, but over here on the left, it shows up inside test. And then there it is. And you see that is. So now I made a mistake and I don't want it. So I could move it back over here and it goes back to where I wanted it in the first place. So it's a nice, easy way of looking at things going back and forth. So you can, say, hey, I like things like this, or I don't like things like this. And you can sort things differently. Like if you notice, I could sort by name or by date. You got different ways of doing things. So like let's take this as an example. Let's say I don't like the name test, and what I want to do is I want to name this Eileen. So I could delete it and I could say Ilene. And then so what I end up with is I have Eileen here, and then I have this movie Eileen, and I can just drag it. So it makes it a lot simpler for you to organize your stuff. And all of this is the same inside here. Now, what I mean by that is if I go to the Pages app, this is what the Pages app looks like. So I just have different things in different places, and I'm just moving things around. And if you notice now, I have a folder called Eileen, and then I have Eileen's movie inside there. Nothing special about it. It's just kind of simple folder structure, moving around, moving files around. So, like as an example, I don't need this 1, 2, 3, so I can press and hold over it and delete it. And so now that's gone. And if you notice over here, I don't have this is Eileen's movie folder. If you notice, it just has her there. But over here, it says create document. And the reason that is because I'm inside pages. I'm not just inside files. So as a result, I could click here and start creating a document. I could create a writing, or I could choose a template. Either way, this is just pages, the way it works inside pages. It's just allowing me to do different things inside pages. They use this folder or file structure right over here, and you can do the same. See, now there's a blank one inside there. So we don't need the blank one. So we could delete it just by pressing and holding over it and then press delete. So that's one way of organizing your files. Another thing that might be interesting for you is if you like if you notice I have this this folder over here in a favorites called Conrad's. Maybe you have something down here, like if you notice up to the left I clicked on iCloud Drive, but over here on the right you have a thing called Pages. If you press and hold over it, you can look at it and then you can make it a favorite, and then it shows up in the favorites section. So you could say, okay, hey, I want Pages in the favorites, and that might be helpful for you because this would be your file structure. You can choose any file or folder that you want to be there. Another thing that's kind of nice is let's um, let's say I think something needs to have a different way of looking at it. So we can create tags, and the tags could be anything you want, or they could be these prefabbed ones. But if you click on add new tag, you'll basically just be creating it yourself. But like you could say work, and if you wanted to, you could say, daily now-alls. You could say whatever you want there. It's all up to you. So you can do all sorts of different things. I hope this helps. I hope this answers your questions. You could have a whole bunch of file structure is just, inside here all you want. Lots of different things that you can do. And if you want to know how to do what I'm doing here, this is neat. You could actually have one, then you could have two, and then drag it off to the right of this. And so you have them right beside each other, just like that. It can be a little bit difficult to get going, but it does work quite neatly. Alrighty then. I hope that helps you.